Hey guys, Banana Luck here and welcome back to another Watcher of Realms video. Today we're gonna do the Semrah showcase that I've been talking about. Last time that we did this, I was overseas and we managed to only get a 55k, but with the recent upgrade that we got to our Alistair, we actually managed to push quite a bit and we actually got to 76k, and after a few tweaks that I'll talk about in the video later on in the later part, you understand how we got there. But Alistair's A1 was huge for me because let me just show you what it does. So not many units in the game actually do Radiant Erosion other than Prateus. Most of them have very tough criteria to get there. Alistair has a pretty straightforward one at A1. So every basic attack has a 15% chance of stacking one stack of Radiant Erosion. And bear in mind that if you get 3 stacks on, every time you inflict it again, the stack actually refreshes. At least graphically, that's what it shows. So this was huge for me, and the other aspect was that this passive that he has, dealing 30% damage reduction constantly throughout the entire fight. Volca does the same. It's also, where do you see it? There we go. Also 30% damage reduction, but this has a issue where she actually has to consume Scarlet Ferment stacks, and she only consumes it when she reaches 5 stacks. So the damage reduction is not as reliable. Alistair's is always up unless he's casting his ultimate. Then there's a very short window where the damage reduction stops, but just bear in mind about that when you cast his ultimate. But yeah, Alistair is way more reliable in my opinion, and that's with me having Focus Artifact, which increases the Scarlet Ferment stack gain chance to 60%. And lineup wise, obviously, it's a very standard corridor team. Many people use the same. If you don't have Alistair, then having Volca here works just as well. Eloin for the Dispel, Dolores for the damage boost. I don't have Constance, which is unfortunate. If not, I think the runs could go a lot further. And then Percy, just there for this passive that he has, which reduces AoE damage on top of what Alistair provides. And then Silas for the true damage. I'm running him without a lot, still works just as well. 164 million, outbeating Salazar and Last, even though they have a lot boost. And then Zim is just there for the stun, which you will see a lot of later on. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into the run. The video will be stitched in because it was pre-recorded. Did too many recordings just to make sure that we caught it when we got the 82k run. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into that. So this will be the run that we're doing for Semrah 2. We're going to start off with auto fight so we can get placements right. We're going to put down 3 folks first. Arrogance, Silas, and Alistair, because I want them in integration paths. And I only have 3 units that are running those, so that's why I have to place the 3 of them first. And my corridor is actually in a Morale set that I managed to scrap together, and that 4% damage boost really helps out. So if you're using Nazim like me, then yeah, the Saw phase is pretty much manageable with just popping Nazim's out. I did pop Alistair and Salazar's out earlier on just to build Soba Arcana stacks, and Arrogant's already on his second ultimate, so there's 4 stacks, and now we're gonna just start popping ultimates when Semrah is down. Reason being is that this is the timing of the guild boss where you can maximize your damage, because there's no limit to it. Otherwise, in each of the phases, the HP bar that you see on top, that's going to be the limit. You can't deal more damage than that. It's kind of not like the first guild boss in the sense that it can deal unlimited damage, because each phase is, by the boss's HP. So when that downtime happens, that's when you should maximize your damage, and that's how we actually managed to get to this 82k run. Because on the previous attempts we did, it was always between like 74 to 78k, and yeah, I figured out that since the downtime. I remember when we were first doing this guild boss, they said that when Semrah is down, that's when he takes extra damage and all that. So that's time to get the damage out, and yeah, makes a lot of sense. So first Aegis phase was pretty much done without any ultimates because it's just so weak, especially against this lineup. And I'll talk more about the poison dispels later on. But basically, there's a sign to look out for before you cast it. But that becomes more crucial in the second poison phase. The first one is you can even let it stack up to 15 before you cast the dispel. Because by the time it's 15, you probably have killed the boss in this phase too. There we go, that's done, and same thing, we're gonna start popping all the ultimates again. You always pop Alistair and Silas first because they have a longer cast time, whereas Torador, Last, and Salazar is almost instant, and with the last talent in place, you have to make sure that you pop the ultimates only after Dolores buff is up. And then same thing for this phase, we're just gonna use Nazim to tackle through most of it. So 12 stacks actually equates to 96% damage reduction. It's 8% per stack, and no one can do it as well as Nazim actually in terms of the stun lock. I think the possible other contender would be Helga, which is the fusion unit that we have at the moment, but I don't think we're gonna get her in this week. So yeah, Nazim has been working really well. I think once we get Helga, what I'll actually do is to swap out Nazim for Semrah 1 instead, and then Semrah 2 will use Helga because she probably can do some damage compared to Nazim. That's down, and that's when we spam all the nukes. And you can even pop Nazim's out now, that doesn't matter. The second Aegis phase, this is when things get a bit dodgy, especially if you don't have enough Radiant Erosion units. I only have Alistair, and that talent of 50% chance proccing does not always work out, so sometimes having someone like Prateus works a lot better. And typically for the second Aegis phase, you can have 5 stacks, so that's the shield icon below the blue color one. 5 stacks is still manageable. And yeah, that's what we're going to deal with. We're not going to pop any more ultimates. Just going to let this run through. And normally I wait till 2%, that's when I start popping ultimates. Because of the cast time, everything will be just nice, and the same thing for the Nightmare units, you're going to proc it only after the boss is down, because the whip that Last does is actually instant. Okay, so now another poison phase. This one, like what I said, there's a trick to it actually. Slow down the timer. Once the meter runs out, watch for Semrah's hand. Once he brings it down and start bringing it back up again, that's when you proc the ultimate, because by the time it comes down, Eloin's Dispel has certain amount of cast time in it. That would be just nice, and when the 4th stack of poison hits, you're gonna have Eloin's ultimate up again. So you're gonna see here for a second, I'm gonna support Torador with a bit of heal because it's outside of Eloin's range. You can see, once that's down, before his hand even moves back, where he casts the AoE move, we already have the poison dispel. That's important. So if you don't dispel it in time, the AoE move normally kills out your team. And same thing, 2%, that's when you start popping ultimates again to maximize the damage there. Here we go. Go ahead to dispel that poison, and I think this phase is probably when we start using some ultimates to tackle the soft phase, because the boss starts doing quite a bit of damage here. And if you want to know the timing for Nazim's first ultimate, it's actually 2 minutes 36 seconds for the first phase. So that's when you start popping ultimates, and after that you just do it continuously. And when you pop 3 ultimates, Alistair, Last, and Dolores, because they are the ones that normally regenerate it quite quickly. I don't want to pop Silas's because it would be too much, and he takes quite long to get that rage back. And you can see, way before the run ends in this phase, we already have all the ultimates up again. And just gonna wait for the same 2% and start casting all the ultimates again. Go. I'll pop Nazim's out, even though it's not gonna do much damage. And now that's done. This Aegis phase is gonna be a lot tougher now. We're gonna have to pop all the ultimates whenever we get it. And one thing to note is you see that rock that just fell now, that cute Torador. So that's a thing that happens throughout the game mode actually. So from time to time, Semrah will actually throw down a rock, which does insane amount of damage, and you need a tank to, you know, soak through that. So Torador works really well for that because he's the Lord anyways for the Nightmare faction. So you don't really need him to be doing damage, and he does a bit of stun as well and all that. So I have him in the Morale set, mostly HP bonus and also some attack speed. I think it was an Amulet attack speed. There's an Ancient Piece, and you can see that rock dropping again, dealing 59k damage. So what I could have done to prevent him from dying there just now was using Elowen's Wood Elf to support him, but yeah. Forgot about that, and sometimes that pays in the later runs because Corridor dies and then he targets my next unit, which is Salazar, and then slowly but surely everything starts dying. So with Salazar, there's still a saving grace. You can avoid that rock by proccing his ultimate to dodge it, but that just limits the damage capabilities you have on Salazar because he only be casting his ultimate to dodge the rocks. So almost there, 2%, but you're gonna see that this 2% takes quite a while to get there because yeah, he has 6 stacks of the Aegis buff on him. We're gonna go ahead to pop Alistair's out prematurely because we need it, and I'm gonna pop everything else, and I'm gonna pause here because I was worried that we'll actually not make it through this run. You can see that first slab of damage coming through. There's going to be a follow-up of rocks dropping as well. This one's deal less damage, but it's to multiple units, but because we somehow managed to kill the boss beforehand, the rocks actually disappeared, even though they visually fell down, and we managed to survive this phase, and yeah, that was really lucky. And now on to the third poison phase. So slow things down a bit here because we want to get the Dispel right. We're gonna have to survive through 4 phases of poison at the very least. You can see the hand dropping down, and once it goes back up, you pop the ultimate, and that's gonna be way in time for the 4th stack of poison that comes. So pop the ultimate, and yeah, pretty much just do damage as per usual again. And I'm gonna wait for everything to be up before we start casting the ultimates. Because even though you can dispel the poisons on time, what happens is that his AoE damage that Semrah does, it gets stronger and stronger, so you might not be able to make it through just due to that. And you can see you're gonna pop down the Wood Elf to support Torador a bit there, because he's outside of Elowen's range. You're gonna see the next stack of poison coming up, but before he even inflicts it, we actually have the ultimate on Elowen back up again. But bear in mind that my Elowen's out was not maxed when I did this video. Now that it's maxed out, probably can, you know, make it through the poison phase a lot easier. The same thing, wait for it to be 2%. We're gonna get another stack of poison, but that's completely fine. Pop all the ultimates we get. And yeah, we're gonna maximize the damage here.
Mother's blessings upon you.
I'm gonna just cast Elowen's Dispel right away. And same thing, wait for 2 minutes and 36 seconds. That's when we pop Nazim's ultimate. Go, pop it. And we need to actually cast ultimates this time around because the saws do quite a bit of damage. If you notice in the last saw phase that we had, the very last saw actually did 40% of our health in terms of damage, even though most of the damage has been taken away. So 12 stacks of the debuff is actually 96% damage reduction. So yeah, that's a lot of damage. And in case you're thinking of using Carnelian, you see that red set of squares that just came out. You pop Carnelian's ultimate when those red squares first appear. So you do it like how I do with Eloin's ultimate. You click on it, wait for it to come out in slow-mo, and once you see that red panel appear below the side of the map that you're playing on, so if it's the left side, you wait for it to appear on the left, right, you do the same. Then you pop Carnelian's ultimate. It's going to be in time for the slam, where she casts her ultimate right away, and then you actually get, to the unyielding ops applying immediately after that. Because if Eloin heals them up before you get to that point, you're not going to get the unyielding ops to stick. So almost done. I'm gonna pop Nazim's out, and same thing with the ultimate saving. Gonna take as much damage as we can off Semrah here. So normally for this phase, what you actually try to do is that you wanna save your ultimates for the Aegis phase. But because I know for sure that we're not gonna pass it, I popped the ultimates earlier, and that gave me, I think, about 2,000 more fragments, which actually pushed us over the edge to 80k. Previously, I think the maximum score we're doing was 79k. And since I know for sure that, this is we're not gonna make it through this, we pretty much only set our ultimates in sync for the very first wave here. And I slowed this part down because I just wanted to be extra careful, because it's the first time that we were having 75k fragments before the Aegis phase even started. And that was a really good sign. Because normally 75k is what we see towards the end of the run. There's 4 stacks of Aegis buff. Boss is pretty much untouchable now unless you have true damage, like any of the others, or if you have like Silas with the 100% piercing damage. You can see we popped Alistair's ultimate way before actually. But yeah, for the rest we have to time it with Dolores just to get the maximum damage. Alistair's main damage comes from Radiant Erosion here. And 5 stacks of Aegis buff, you can see our units almost dying. So I know for sure that in the next Earth Shatter that the boss does, my units were gonna die, so there's no point saving any of the ultimates anymore. And yeah, this Earth Shatter, most of the units actually die, and he's gonna do another slam. Yeah, Torador dies, and everything just falls apart from here. But that's fine. Cross 80k, which is what we wanted to come for, and yeah, you can see that we're never gonna make it anyways because we're still 12.3% away. It was nowhere close. But 82k fragments is where we wanted to aim for, because this is where the mythic artifact essence starts dropping in Semrah 2 as a reward. So yeah, it's really great that we managed to get to this milestone, and see damage charts wise, Arrogance right on top. If I get his A3 with the soul stones in the shop soon, then this Semrah boss will be a lot easier. And there is a gear that I'm going to show here, morale set for Torador. The rest will be in your normal DPS, but as I said earlier at the start of the video, attack matters a lot more. And then Eloin, some rich regen. I have Dolores and Golden Scarab for extra HP. And I did tweak some of the gear on my units so that it survived better. And Nazim in Nightmare Samsara for the constant ultimate. And then just gonna go collect the Init Soulstone. We're still pretty far away from Init because we're lacking 2 Oracle Trial Winds. But yeah, I'm glad that we had this done because I originally wanted to exploit the anti-heal buff for it. So that's the run, gear and all shown. If you have any questions, feel free to leave it down in the comment section below. I will have a couple more Semrah videos coming out, mainly from takeovers. So I have 2 different accounts. One has a Prateus and one has a Valderon, and they're just both aiming for 50k, which should be pretty straightforward, especially the one that has Prateus because of the radiant erosion that they do. So yeah, if you have any questions, leave it down in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the content, feel free to leave a like or subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.